Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm gonna blow your ears out. So it's Tuesday the 18th. Yes, I'm looking at the date of April 2023. Today is Charley solo day. So welcome. Welcome. Sorry, I don't have the Jeff Morton with me today. He's out there trucking doing weird things and couldn't get out. Schedule changed on him, so he had to go be a real adult in trucking and stuff like that. I had an interesting day which I'll share with you guys in a little bit. Some of you guys will enjoy this. Some of you be like, "What's wrong with this dude?" But I mean, some of you already say that as it is, so whatever. Let's see who's here. So today, just so we're clear, bear hunter Sean was first at 3:25 p.m. Eastern time. Bear hunter made it finally to be first. Kevin Ulrich was close. He's only a couple minutes behind it. 15:27. Just saying. So what's up, Kevin? Bear hunter Sean, how you doing, man? Let's see who else we got in here. It says James was here at some point. Don't know if you're still there or not, but I'm sure he'll be back if he's not. John Chuba, good to see you. In the shop to get oil changed, both oil plugs are stripped. Has to go to Freightliner to get new oil pan. Swift shop says common problem with 2021 Freightliners. Freightliner said maybe Swift's fault. That sucks. He said stay tuned. That sucks. I've seen some shops, not necessarily Swift shops, because I honestly haven't dealt with them a lot in the past. I will be here in the future. I'm actually going to try utilizing an Ocala shop, the Ocala shop, next Tuesday to get my B service done. So I'll let you know how that goes. But I've seen a lot of places try to over torque those things, and it causes real problems. It's not that hard to strip out that oil pan threading. You know what I mean? Mike Henderson, good to see you. Yeah, he says fit this week. This is going to be the first time I don't make it to Midland before the show starts. Hope my signal's up. I hope so too. Life on 18 Wheels, good to see you. Lisa, hello. Trucker Dan. Hey, Trucker Dan. Hey, I'm doing my Forrest running off the boat right now. Just imagine it. It just happened. I'm swimming. Darren Thompson, what's going on? Oh, Lord. It's going to be one of those days. Gabe, how are you? Got to meet Gabe out there in Vegas at our conference. That was very cool. Lots of things going on for Gabe right now. Some changes that he's making and some cool stuff going down, I think. Hopefully that's going well. Jonah Green, good to see you. Good evening. Brian Jess. No freight. Everyone dead, head home. Brian said so. Yep. I feel you. I threw out there if anybody wanted to hop on and guest host. I'm willing to let some people pop on here if you're up for it. Could be funny. Got to be parked. Have somewhere with a good signal. Let me know. I can shoot you an email and give you a link. And Jeffrey Morton is talking about don't be late. I was early, sucker. Yeah, don't tell me don't be late. I was early. I launched it over a minute early, like a minute and a half. So there. What do you think about that? I did some things. Barb W., good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope that Volvo's doing well. I did not kill any dogs. Okay, so I finally got a report from the health department. That dog is alive and well. It was released from quarantine, did not have rabies, so I don't have rabies, which is good because I really didn't want to go get those shots because, mind you, it was 3 weeks late, but whatever. I didn't want to do it. I rolled the dice and said, no, I don't think it has rabies, so I'm not going to get the shots because I don't want those stupid shots. And no one was going to pay me $1,000 a day to sit at home to get rabies shots. Let's just be real. So the dog is alive. And yeah, Michael Ford, good to see you. Yep, James Vaughn said he's her. I mean, here. I let that play out like that just because. Craig Hutchinson, hello from Ghana, sir. Our international man is over in Ghana and doing things and like living life. Hope that's going well for you, brother. RC Trucker, good to see you. Oh, that sucks. RC Trucker said he's stuck in the Washington terminal for 3 days now and counting. And that's a terrible, not Great place to be. You know, there is a movie theater that's not too far from there. You can bobtail to and park in their giant parking lot. Just gonna throw it out there. I used to do that quite often there at Sumner because I had a lot of time that I was spending in Sumner. Michael Ford said he's shop in Albuquerque blew out trailers, air tanks, bad weld. That's wonderful. That just sucks. What's up again there, Mike Henderson? So yeah, you know, we're just gonna hang out and see where it goes today, guys. Don't have a whole lot of stuff on the plate. We've been super busy these last few weeks, so apologies for that. We're trying to get a bunch of other things lined up. We've got some guests we're working on in the coming weeks. I think we're gonna try and get Tony Dennis on. We had a real cool session with Tony in Vegas at the conference where he actually explained the what do you call it? The what's the word? Claims process with insurance, and really broke it down the best way to handle all these things if you do have a claim, things like that. And I think that might be some good information. We really learned a lot from Colton and Tony and Sue and Alan during that conference. It was pretty cool. I dug it. Seemed to get good feedback from the people who were there. And James Vaughn said he fought a goose. And I can assure you that he had words with a goose. I mean, they had this epic stare down that he sent me this video of, and it was pretty awesome. Not gonna lie. Tim Ransom said we need to get someone from the log department to come on the show. Could do that. Yeah, John Chuba said I love picking the blackberries in Sumner. Is it blackberries or is it loganberries? Because some loganberries up in that area are pretty amazing as well. And loganberries, I gotta tell you, they're my favorite. They're my favorite. Yeah. Darian Thompson, health insurance. Unfortunately, this is going to be a Jeff Morton topic. He's real good about talking about that stuff. I have never purchased health insurance in my entire adult life. So I'm not a good source of information for that. I need to get better on it. I know. But that is one of Jeff's strengths. He could talk for hours about that stuff. So I do apologize for that. Maybe hit him up on the Facebook groups or shoot him a PM. Or next week when we get Jeff back on, you can definitely throw that at him and he will be able to square you away. I just don't know enough about health insurance to honestly tell you anything about it. Wouldn't know how to shop for it. Like if I lost my VA stuff tomorrow, I would be completely in the dark like a child, having no idea how to get to a doctor or be seen or things like that. It's true. I'm not lying. I wish I knew more, but I don't. And I just haven't had the inclination or the drive to find out because I don't need to. I know it sounds terrible, but I apologize. Pardon me while I like this. Anyhow, I hope you guys are all doing well out there. Yeah, Sumner, God, I'm stuck on that. I spent so much time up there. I used to live in Astoria, Oregon, and I ran the Cabela's account when we were establishing that account, and we actually ran it out of Sumner. Well, the JCPenney yard just down the street from the Sumner terminal. And yeah, RC Trucker is macro 8 request for home time. Yes, it is. Fuel surcharge. Lisa, look, you just trying to get me down to business? Is that what you want me to do? Well, okay, look. Just like Bear Hunter said, start the show early. You know what? Ask and you shall receive. So why don't we do that? Watch. Pow. So Lisa wanted the fuel surcharge. So here's the fuel surcharge. So the national average actually went up, y'all, this week. It went up a whole almost 2 cents, up 0.018 to 4.116. West Coast Pad 5 went down 0.007, down to 4.692. That brings our fuel surcharge up to 0.473. That is a jump of 0.003. West Coast stayed at 9 cents because the disparity between West Coast Pad 5 and the national average is only 0.576 cents. So there you go. Ask, you shall receive, as best as I can. That's the fuel surcharge report. That's what's current. Let's make things happen. Look, I'll even scroll it across the bottom for you now. How's that? Since we've done it, now we can put it out there. Brian just said, health insurance, get that Obamacare. Congress rammed down our throats. You won't find cheaper anywhere. That's pretty much where Jeff points people, because the government thinks we're all super poor and they give us apparently some pretty decent rates on their programs. And Jeff seems to be pretty happy with most of what he has. But I think he's got some changes coming where he's going to have to change insurance. So we'll see what happens there. Oh, so yeah, what's going on, y'all? Uh-oh. Bear Hunter said, so doing a contract change, and I was reading, as I signed. They had me accepting Chubb Ace. Well, I replied, I will not sign this contract as sent. Please amend to show declining all. And I'm going to guess that he's declining all insurance. Yes, you need to let them know that you have your own insurance. And yeah, I dig it. There you go. Said got approved from Max Mountain. It's great coverage. There you go. So yeah, if you have a contract change coming up, make sure if you have the Seabright insurance or the OIDA insurance or whomever it is that you have that is not the Swift backed insurance, make sure that when you sign that new contract, you are not accepting the Swift insurance. So yeah, it's a thing. It's like legitimately a thing. And they will send you and they will amend it and they will make it right. Just make sure that you actually have your insurance binder and all that stuff present with you, ready to go. Your COI, certificate of insurance. Yeah, that's what it's called. Big words. I had it. Oh, wait. So you guys want to hear about my day? I don't know if you do or not, but I'm going to tell you anyhow. So check this out. So I've got some neighbors out in the country next to my little 5-acre parcel that I have out there that I'm going to build a house on one day and die on. And these guys are interesting individuals. Yeah, they're tweakers. So anyhow, giant junkyard next to my property that has gotten 100 times worse in the last couple months, and it's been pretty unbearable. And now today they had a bobcat out on their property, and they were pushing vehicle frames and bodies and horse trailers and all this big stuff in a boat out onto the neighbor behind me onto their property. And this is a piece of property that I'm actually trying to buy. So I don't want all that junk on there when I buy it, right? So anyhow, I went out there, but I didn't know my neighbors were doing this. I thought someone else, so I went out shooting yesterday and found this little camp just outside my fence line and was like, well, that's not cool. So I called the property owner, got a hold of the property owner, and they were coming out today to check it out. So I went out there and, I may have been well armed like I usually am when I go out there. And I had a thigh rig on, an AR strapped across my chest and a sling. It was great. And I walked out into that property because I heard some commotion and found my neighbor on a bobcat pushing stuff out on that property, right? So he climbs out of his bobcat with a rifle. I'm thinking, not normally something you see, someone driving a bobcat in the woods with a rifle. But here I am, got an AR strapped across my chest, and I'm walking out there and I'm like, hey, man, this ain't cool. And we had this really tense conversation. Two guys standing out in the woods on someone else's property with rifles in their hands. It was kind of interesting. Ken Kelly, good to see you. Greetings from Thailand, he says. Good for you, brother. I'm glad you're out there. You need it. You deserve it. And but yeah, so now it seems I may have started a war with my tweaker neighbors. So that's going to be fun. I've got that to look forward to. I was actually going to go back to work Wednesday tomorrow, but I'll be home for the next week. Got to deal with some county stuff out there now. And apparently, like, the county's been aware of this property, but they couldn't get anyone to file a formal complaint because everybody's afraid of these people, like legit afraid of these people. I'm like, yeah, I'm totally not afraid of these people. They're like, well, you're going to have to give up your name and address and phone number. And it's going to be public record if you do this. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, what do I care? They're like, well, those people are a little bit crazy. And I'm like, that's cool. They don't know me as well as they think they do. What do you say, Ken Kelly? A little old paratrooper craziness, right? That's what I tried to tell you. I'm like, look, I'm an old retired paratrooper. I don't care. There are 0 F's given when it comes to this kind of stuff. If I got to go out there wearing a plate carrier every day, that's what I'm doing. Just throwing that out there. Anyhow, that's what my day consisted of. So I was out there for several hours waiting on county and neighbors and weird stuff today. And now I got to go back out there later this week, and I'm going to grant them access to my property because apparently, from my description of this property next door, they said, we're going to have to expedite this claim because this sounds like a slum and we're going to have to shut this down. And I'm like, right on. Right? Dude, Ken, like the little camp I found, I'm pretty sure was a lab. Like legit. That's what kind of piqued my hairs yesterday. And wait, okay, so this is the funniest part of it all. And this is why I thought maybe it wasn't my tweaker neighbors, because they set it up right next to the bullet backstop on my range. It's just on the other side of the fence, about 20 yards south, directly south of where all the spray goes from rounds hitting steel targets. I'm like, that's not smart. And that's why I figured, well, maybe it's not my neighbors because they know we shoot there and we put a lot of ordnance on those steel targets. Just saying. It was crazy. And then the dude admitted, he's like, that's not a camp. I'm like, dude, it's a camp. He's like, no, bro, you mean over there where that hammock's hanging up in the tree and all that? I'm like, yeah, and the campfire and all the junk and the cleaning that happened. He's like, yeah, I put that there. I'm like, that's not a smart statement. That's been my day. I'm sure it's not as bad as some of yours. Not as good as Ken's, that's for sure. He's in Thailand. I know Bear Hunter's having a hell of a time with freight and cancels and stuff like that. So yeah. But hey, if you guys got questions, you know what? If you want to call, I will open up the phone. In fact, the phone lines are open, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it. I opened up before I started the show. If you'd like to call in now. 813 Live SEC. And for those of you who don't have the letters on your phone numbers and stuff like that, it's 813-548-3722. 813-548-3722. Operators standing by. Okay, not really. It's like a Google Assistant that translates terribly, which is really fun to watch. Just saying. John Chuba, we had a tweaker on the lake, Crazy Louie, who spent most of his time blowing up things. Eventually, he took care of the problem himself. See, that's funny. And honestly, here's the funny part is I've actually expected that to happen several times. There's been several times we've been out there on the property and strange explosions happen in the middle of the night that kind of rattle you out of bed because, we'll go camp out there every now and again. And then, you'll see these knuckleheads out there surrounding a big campfire and they just had a propane tank blow up in the fire. True story. Happened. Just saying. I'll be there chilling. What's up, man? Welcome. Glad you're here. Hey, Ken, James said watch out for the lady boys. Just saying. He's looking out for you, man. You know what? Never mind. No comments. I was about to go somewhere and Jeff's not here to smack me in the head and be like, hey, stupid, don't say that. But, that's his fault. That's not my fault. Or that's somebody's fault. It's not my fault. I'm going to say it's not my fault. What do you say about that? Hey, Jeff, what do you think about that? Oh, see, he's got nothing to say now. So there you go. So, yeah. What's shaking, guys? Oh, Ken. I honestly, Ken said, those dummies ever hear shrapnel? I don't think they get it, bro. Like, they don't get it, man. Midlife trucker Tom Bell, good to see you. A few minutes late, but you know what? I started a few minutes early just for fun, just to throw people off. So I apologize. Haven't missed a whole lot. We did do the fuel surcharge. In case you missed that, let me throw it across the bottom of the screen. It's right there. 0.473 is the fuel surcharge. West Coast stayed at 9 cents. Fuel went up this week, which is cool. Just barely, but no, there is no speaking of lobsters, Lisa. Stop it. Stop it. Good. And people say I bring up all these inappropriate things. Just saying. Only 2 things fall from the sky. That's right. Brave men called paratroopers and Russian aircraft shot down by Ukrainians. What? No, I apologize. That's terrible. I'm sorry. We're gonna get hacked now. Dang it. See, you weren't expecting me to have a quick response for that, were you, Tom? I just got you right there, brother. I'm just saying. Cigar went out again. I apologize. Oh. Jeff's out there complaining. He's like, just flipping Swift, man. I'm going to get on Facebook and complain. And then I'm going to give him a trophy and a participation award and a gold star. And that's right, Ken Kelly. Death from above, sir. Death from above. Oh, life on 18 wheels. We didn't have an update this week. They actually pushed our update meeting to tomorrow. So as of right now, it's the same we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks, brother. I apologize. I'm hoping that we push the meeting back because they have some information, but we'll see. TK, my brother from another mother. Peace be upon you, my brother. Tom Bell said, nope. My jump master said, bird shit and fools. Been told to stand up. That's right. Stand up. Hook up. Shuffle to the door. Yes, sir. Love it. Love it. Can't get enough. God, I miss that life. I'm not going to lie. And hello, good sir, to you. Oh, no. Bitcoin John just got in a little bit under the weather. That sucks, bro. Yeah, my son seems to have a cold. And I'm like, you stay the hell away from me, man. Like, you just stay the hell away. You go away or I will kick you. And, look, I'm usually armed. I might have threatened my son. He's an adult. It's okay. I'm just saying. I'm not threatening children. God, let's not even get that started. Oh, Lord. Next thing I'm going to hear on 13 different videos how Charley threatened his child. That's going to be great. Why'd I even talk? I don't even know why I'm here. Why are we here? What are we talking about? What do you guys want to talk about today? I know Bear Hunter was all fired up earlier. Oh, Tom Bell. So let's just be real. Nope. Some are doing better than others. And, that would be expected. I got to tell you, I had a heck of a time getting home this week. Had one load lined up off the load board, and that went to hell somehow. It was medical supplies. And apparently when they inspected the load but luckily it was a couple days before the load was supposed to pick up. And the medical load failed its inspection from the medical people. So I never even got to pick it up. Then we had to jump out of our butts, and I ended up with a load from, you're going to love this. This routing was great. I went from Utah to Denver to Lancaster to Mississippi. That was the saving grace. And when I got to Mississippi, so all the notes in the load assignment, and this, I'm glad you brought this up because there is a voice your choice that's being worked on right now on my part for a wonderful CSR named James. In fact, I'm not only going to name his first name, I'm going to find this guy's last name just to share all of the wonderfulness that happened on this day because I think it's important. Bear with me for just a minute. And I had some other people who were really stellar. A CSR named James Livingston, Liviji. So I got to this customer, and the customer was closed, right? I mean, not a big deal. But the note specifically said that Saturday and Sunday, the customer will only receive between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So I busted my backside to get there, around 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. I pull in only to find out that there's a sign on the gate. Now, mind you, this is a narrow driveway into Avery in Mississippi, Meridian, Mississippi. So I'm gonna throw this out there. If you ever get a load to Avery in Meridian, Mississippi, and you're gonna show up on the weekend, don't show up. Because here's the problem. You pull into the driveway where it says trucks, and if nobody's there, there's nobody there who can open the gate. The only way to get out of there is to back out blindly into a street that's got one lane going each way and a left turn lane into that driveway. And I learned that there's a pattern to the traffic out there. Got about 30 seconds of free space in both directions if you watch long enough and figure it out. And so here's what I did. I let the planners know and tried to contact the CSR, and my buddy, my new best friend, James Livingston, the CSR, I let them know what was going on. He's like, oh, man, that's a bummer because it says right here in the master notes that I never even should have sent you in there on a weekend because the master notes state it's closed on all the weekend. It's not open on the weekend. Nobody there. No, I should not said the words. I shouldn't have sent you there. But the notes that were available on the dispatch said they accept you from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. And I said, well, great. Thanks, James. That's great looking out. And by the way, can you do me a favor? He's like, what do you need, man? I said, I'd like you to call local law enforcement and have them come out here to this customer and have them come stop traffic for me because I'm not willing to put Rosie out there and accept liability for backing out into the street blindly. And my new best buddy, James Livingston, the CSR at Swift, said, I don't even know where you are, man. You call. It's your problem. True story, y'all. Just putting it out there. And yeah, I was not, I'm sure you guys can tell that I was not super thrilled about the answer I got and the treatment I got from this fine individual named James Livingston, the CSR from Swift Transportation. I'm probably going to get yelled at for using his name over and over, James Livingston, CSR from Swift Transportation. And yeah, but see, here's the thing. Tom Bell said I have a magnetic backup camera that I put on the rear bumper. I can turn it on one side if needed to back out. You know, it was bad, bro. Like it was a really bad position to be in. So, I talked to planners, I talked to Anna Marie, and what was her name? Oh God, I don't want to forget this other ECT lady's name because she was amazing as well. Super, super helpful. So I've got some voice your choices that I need to do. But these people seriously were amazing, unlike James Livingston, the CSR from Swift Transportation. Let me find her name because she was awesome. She like legit super, super awesome. Where is it? Leanne Bunderberg from Memphis, planner, ECT planner. This lady and Anna Marie, Anna Marie is a team expedited planner out of Phoenix. Super, super person. Leanne Funderberg, and I love her name because it's Funderberg. Oh, sorry about that. Anyhow, and those two bent over backwards to try and get me sorted out and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, okay, so we get what happened and make sure you voice your choice. And I'm like, yep, that's gonna happen. And so now it's left up to me to get a hold of law enforcement. So I look up the Meridian, Mississippi Police Department online. I don't want to call 911 because, maybe something big bad is happening. So I don't want to call 911. I call the non-emergency number and I get a phone tree and it says, if this is an emergency, push 8. And I'm like, well, that's not the one I want. And I tried every other option they had to get no answer. Then I went back again and said, okay, I'm going to push 8. And I pushed 8. And do you know that I got a recording that said, we're sorry, the person you're trying to reach is not available. And it went back to the phone tree with all the options. And I thought, what in the hell is going on in Meridian, Mississippi? So then I spoke to Lenka, uh, our backup DL in Troutdale, and she's like, "Hey, did you think about calling the county?" I was like, "Oh, I'm an idiot. Let's call the county sheriff's office." Right? I call them. Same thing. Phone tree. All the extensions don't go anywhere. And when I hit 8 for emergency, it didn't even put me back in the phone tree. It straight hung up on me. Just click, gone. I was like, holy crap. And then I got mad and I got frustrated and I did some things that I shouldn't have done. Like I just said, to hell with it. Babe, get out there in the street. We figured out what the pattern was. I said, if you don't see any cars coming over that hill down there, we had about 30 seconds of time from the top of that hill to the time they got to us. I said, let me know when it's clear. And I had the truck and trailer kind of pre-set up just enough angle where I could pull out into the lane coming at me in the face as I pulled out. And we got out of there in 15 seconds. It was pretty awesome. Not going to lie. And then we drove away. And the wonderful Anna Marie and Leanne Bunderberg got me squared away with a T-call at the night yard in Gulfport, Mississippi. And then we had to bobtail home from there, which was unfortunate, but whatever. It got us home Sunday, and here we are. So yeah, it was crazy, man. I was like, my buddy James Livingston, the CSR at Swift. I'm not a fan. I got to tell you right now, because one of the things he told me was, I'm like, hey, so then maybe we can get this thing set up for a T-call since it's Saturday. And you're telling me that you just rescheduled it for Monday, and I'm not willing to sit here, and I need to be home no later than Monday morning, right? And he says, well, I just rescheduled it. Beyond that, it's not my problem. That's on the planners. That's their problem now. Wow. Go team, right? So I'm just saying that's like a legit thing. Jeff, I apologize if I'm too negative today, but I told you I was going to tell this story, and I think it's important. Yeah, it was crazy. It just I didn't understand the lack of understanding on their part. And what I said was, I said, hey, I think it would come out better if corporate called the local law enforcement people, right? And said, hey, we have a driver that's stuck out here at a customer who we thought was open, and our bad, whatever. And he doesn't want to back out into traffic blindly and risk hurting anybody, right? And I explained this to my buddy James Livingston, the CSR from Swift. And he's like, yeah, I don't even know where you are. It's your problem. You figure it out. You call him. Oh, my God. So, yeah, that was my last day of work, and I was pretty upset by that. And then Rosie and I had decided, since we spent 5 hours in this whole fiasco trying to do this stuff, that we were just going to run down the road to the Loves and crash out for the night and leave in the morning. And then I got woke up at 3 a.m. by a lady who couldn't get out of her parking space without eating the whole front half of my truck. So then I'm like, okay, give me a minute. I'm in my underwear. Just give me a second to shake the cobwebs out, right? Let me pull out of your way. Thank you for waking me up and not eating the hood of my truck. I really appreciate that. And as soon as I started pulling up a little bit, she pulled up with me, and she's trying to cut me off, right? And just kept pushing. Every time I moved, she'd move further. I'm like, look, just stop moving. Hit the air horn. Yelled at her, stop moving. She reaches out her head out the window. What? I said, stop moving. Let me move my truck into a place where you're not going to hit it. Okay. I started to pull up, and she did it again. To the point where I had turned out of the spot, hard right, was running along the front of the other parked trucks, and she almost ran me into another Mesilla Valley truck. And I finally got her to stop moving. I pulled up 4 trucks, and she finally got out and beat feet, man, like it was on fire. And then we got home, and now I'm dealing with tweakers on my property. So there you go, you guys. What do y'all think about that? It's been fun. Let me see what I've missed here. I know you guys have been talking. I apologize. Jeff said I'm going to get us banned. That's funny. Tom Bell, I did not get to look at freight volumes today because of my tweaker experience. I was out there for too many hours right before the show, so I do apologize. I he Tom Bell was asking freight market volumes and rates. I apologize. I don't have that information today. I'm really not prepared because of all this crap that went on at the last minute. So I do apologize. Oh, that sounds funny too, Tom. He tried to deliver a DHL in Kansas City and they weren't done building it yet. That's great. That is just amazing. You know, Brian just says CSR department is a joke 98% of the time, and almost all load informations aren't major customers have incorrect information. CSRs obviously are not held accountable for anything. We'd have more freight. Brian, make sure you're voicing your choice on a regular basis. That's what I'm gonna throw out there, okay? Ken said that's the problem with CSRs as a whole. They normally are not in our loop. And a good many of them have attitude problems when they are talking to drivers. I'm not going to argue that one either. So, yeah. John Chuba said, sounds like Meridian, Mississippi has the same phone system as Swift. Look, I got to tell you. So, maybe I'm spoiled. Maybe we're lucky. Jeff and I, when we need to call somebody, our Troutdale terminal, we can pretty much get somebody there 24/7. We have special phone numbers to dial for ECT, the overnight people at our terminal. Most of the time they answer. Every now and then it'll roll over into the Phoenix phone bank, but yeah, man, I don't honestly don't really have that problem. Planner numbers are kind of tough. Jeff just had one today that he had to deal with. Yeah, the number they put in their little signature, complete bogus number. And Ken, you're right. He said I've also harped on Facebook page about them not scrubbing the comment section on dispatches, and we've had a bunch of conversations about that. Several different conversations about that very thing this week in several of the groups. It really is something that needs to happen soon because it's costing people money, and we're already struggling out here with the freight volumes and those sort of things. So, yeah, it's crazy. You know what? A drone would have been awesome right there, probably too. Except that the road that I was backing out on was tree covered. It would have been a tough thing for me to do. Just saying. Mike Henderson, that's why I went back to Target dedicated. Weekend and night CSRs are the worst. I hear you, man. It's rough. And I do feel for you guys. I know you guys think I'm a chump because I'm running Target all the time, but I get out there and run OTR. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now. Well, I'm not right this minute. I was going to do it for the next 2 weeks solo. And then I got some other stuff to deal with. So there you go. John Chuba said, give James a break. They probably forgot to leave room at Starbucks and ruined his day. John Chuba. Sir. James Livingston, the CSR at Swift, is my new favorite person on the planet. That's what I'm saying. So helpful, that guy. Bull of the Woods. Cheers, sir. Cheers, cheers. Glad you're here. Glad you're hanging out. Thanks for popping in. I dig it. And hope you're doing well. So yeah. What do y'all think? You guys got any horror stories from this week? Because since we're on that horror story minute, we can find some bright spots to it. Like I said, the two planners that I ended up dealing with after dealing with James Livingston, the CSR at Swift, those planners were amazing. Like seriously, totally went way above and beyond to help me out. And yeah, had no idea who I am or anything like that, And I said, you know what? I'm going to talk good about you guys. I'm going to talk good about you guys on my show. And they're like, you do a show? I'm like, yeah, I do this little YouTube thing. And I'm going to mention your names as awesome people. So that's what I'm doing because they were absolutely amazing. So Anna Marie, if you happen to tune in, or Leanne Funderburg, God, I love that name. Funderburg. Oh, anyhow, Yeah, can you tell him that I was born in the 70s and watch yeah, anyhow. He-Man. Thundercats. And yeah, whatever. No lot lizard stories, Lisa. Lisa, I'm gonna have to put you in timeout. Because you were just trying to stir up some nonsense, gonna get me in trouble. And Brian just said my delivery this morning had wrong address. Then I switched to Swift GPS for the customer, and it took me to a closed warehouse with a sign to go elsewhere. This was West Rock, so not a random customer. That is awesome. It sucks. And Darian, that's a legit thing. Just hate dealing with the lack of communication at some Swift shops. And look, it's a common problem, not just at Swift shops, but through several of the departments. That's why we're always saying, try and build relationships with individuals. Um, you know, some people say, "Oh, that's not fair. Why do I have to make friends with them?" Well, you know what? If it makes your life easier, why wouldn't you? Right? I'm just saying. Bull of the Woods said, horror story here is it won't stop snowing and chain laws are in effect over cabbage. Granted, I don't have to worry about it anymore, but it still sucks. For real. Look, so I had some interesting weather. And while I'm telling this story, Bear Hunters had smashed that like button, y'all. I when I left Vegas, whenever it was, I can't even remember. It's a couple Thursdays ago or something like that. I had a Cabela's load up to Washington State, and then I had a load from Springfield, Oregon, back down to Utah. Another Cabela's load, a return load. And when I left Utah, it was beautiful. No, when I left Utah the first time, it was very cold and like seemed like it was on the verge of snowing. Like it was not comfortable. The wind was crazy. And then we went up to we left there, went up to Washington, and it was just cold and it wasn't horrible or anything. We had issues with our load and nonsense and ended up getting a T called in Troutdale, Oregon, went down to Springfield, picked up our load, headed back. First, I took a road I shouldn't have taken and ended up in some crazy little billy goat trail trying to cut back over from Oregon to Utah. Just gonna say I made a mistake and I didn't get in trouble. Luckily, I didn't get caught on a road that I shouldn't have been on. But I was kind of committed once I realized I wasn't supposed to be there. That was great. And had a nice 8% hill that looked like this back and forth going all the way up the hill with no rail. It was pretty sketchy looking over the edge on Rosie's side of the truck. I'm just saying. And when we got back to Utah, the weather was nice, right? And it was like summer. It was like 80 degrees almost in Tuala out there by the Cabela's DC. And then it turned into spring. And then the day I left, it snowed. And the next day, Jeff left the house on Friday and had snow all the way from Utah to Indiana. It followed him the whole way. I got lucky. As soon as I hit the Wyoming line, the snow went away and it started to warm up. And by the time I got to Denver, it was like 70 degrees. And then I swapped loads in Denver and went to Lancaster, and it was nice all the way down. So I got lucky. But man, that little week of weather was something else. Thank you, RC Trucker, for smashing that. Also, you said you witnessed a road rage incident between a semi and a minivan coming down Dead Man's Pass. Braking, swerving, arms flying out windows. Nothing major, but definitely sketchy. Dude, so that freaks me out. Like, seriously. Like, oh my God. You just got to back off, right? And wait and see what happens and hope that people don't do anything super sketchy. So, yeah. Let's see. Country said, I think Swift should start notifying us we are not in a high cargo theft area, would say Ben. Right? Like, there's been a lot of those messages. But I swear to God, everywhere I've been in the last couple of weeks has been, hey, you're going through a high cargo theft area. Make sure you're using your lock and all this other stuff. And then, so we all seem to see that they started sending out these service reminders. Nobody's seen them before, and then all of a sudden, everybody got one this past week. It was weird. Ken said, Ken Kelly, no chain law in Thailand. Good for you, sir. All right, RC Trucker's getting serious on us, guys. How do you stay rolling? Stuck in Washington 3 days, Troutdale 3 days, Utah 2 days, done 3 34-hour resets in the last 2 weeks. That sucks. So Troutdale's a terminal I can talk quite a bit about. Typically, if I'm in Troutdale and there's freight volume issues, the neat thing about Troutdale is you can actually go up and talk to planners at their desks, as long as you're not being a jerk, right? So approach them with, professionalism. Say, hey, man, any chance you got anything I could help out with? Maybe offer to do a little local run, and to use up some of that time you have burning up that you got nothing else to do with, right? And you would be amazed at how you might find yourself at the front of that wait line. Now, some will say, "Oh, well, that's not fair." Well, if you're taking the effort, making the effort, and putting yourself out there, and you're willing to go do some other little crappy stuff to get by and make a couple bucks. I mean, a lot of times they'll kick you some, local delivery type money, and then put you kind of at the front of the line. Right or wrong, whether you feel it's right or wrong, I'm telling you that it typically works out for you. If I was at a terminal in another city, state, I typically do the same type of thing if I really want to get moving. Laredo is a great example of that. I will absolutely go into the Laredo window and talk to people. And I don't immediately start saying, "Hey, I need a load, you bastards. Give me a load or I'm going to, poop in the shower." That's weird. I don't even know where that came from, but it sounded good. But yeah, I typically go in there and say, "Hey, I'm Charley. I'm truck 231015. And I was wondering if you guys, what the freight's looking like, and maybe there's something local I could run. If you guys need any help, I'd be happy to get some little work done if need be." And yeah. And typically, honestly, I typically get a load fairly soon after that. Or they'll tell me flat out, "We've got nothing, bro." And I'll say, "Well, how's Dallas looking? How's El Paso looking?" And they'll be like, Dallas is probably a good idea. And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Guess what? I'm going to reposition myself up there, and that's where I'm going. Can you show my, unauthorized deadhead up there if you're not willing to reposition me? And let the planners know I'm on my way and I'm willing to work and I'm ready to go." Right? And usually within about a half hour or so, I've got a pre-plan coming out of Dallas or El Paso or something like that. That's what's worked for me in the past. So yeah, and here's a good idea too. Set your home time to the Midwest or East and get away from the West Coast for now. Not a bad plan. Looking at the load board, there's not a lot. It just doesn't. Texas seems to be doing really well right now, honestly. Jeff had some interesting loads he was looking at. I was looking at some loads in Florida that vanished this morning. I was going to try and work a weird deal on those. There was 3 loads coming out of Ocala up to Jacksonville, 96 miles. I was going to see if I could get them to make me a deal on those. I was going to offer to run all 3 of those loads. I thought it was worth a shot. You know what I mean? And yeah, And Tim said, "RC, keep your butt east of the Mississippi River. I've been running better since I started doing that." And, there's a lot of that people saying that very same thing. Ken Kelly said, "Troutdale has problems finding people to take cardboard bales 150 miles to Toledo and then get rolls of paper from there because of the weight." Look, that's one of my staples, used to be one of my staples. I could get a load of, go pick up a T-called bundle, cardboard bundle load, drop it down there at Toledo, go out there, go to Stu Miller's Pig Feathers, the barbecue place right down the street from the mill, pick up my load of paper rolls, and those paper rolls go all over the country. They're heavy. Don't care. It's freight. It's moving. It gets me somewhere else where hopefully there's more freight. Mike Henderson said Swift just wants us to send in monthly maintenance reports. That's what those service messages were. Well, they were like pretty, I don't know. It was a weird thing. I mean, I think most of us do that. Most people I know do that. So it was weird, you know. RC Trucker said, thank you. Is East better than West overall? It seems to be. It does seem to be. If you don't mind the Northeast and things like that, I have reasons I don't go up into that Northeast corner. Everybody knows I carry a firearm and my permit's no good in a bunch of those Northeast corner states, right? So I tend to not run well over there because I can't go up into New York, New Jersey, Maryland, those spots, right? So I don't do real well over here. And so I typically run the Southeast. That's why I fall back on target a lot, honestly. And I just run the Southeast because my permit's good and everywhere that I go there. Or I try to stay below I-40, and that can be problematic and costly as well. Like I said, this past week I was up in Washington and Oregon and doing these things that I don't normally do because I needed freight. And it kept me busy over the weekend and got me set up for the show last week, which was an utter failure on my part because my signal was crap and I couldn't get in there. And then, I mean, at the beginning of the show, I had this crazy migraine that actually literally I had to get out of the driver's seat of the truck and go lay down. So I apologize to you guys for that. I really want to be a part of that show with Colton from Trucker CFO. That guy is awesome. Totally dig them. If you guys haven't looked into them, by the way, I would highly recommend giving Colton and his people over at Trucker CFO a call and see what they can work for you. They had a lot of really good discussions with people that were at the conference, and I think probably just about everybody there is going to sign up or has signed up with Trucker CFO already and are dropping the other company that is out there. So give them a call. The information is going across the bottom of the screen here if you want to give them a check. And super nice people, like seriously. And Colton is a beast. That guy has so much information and so much good advice that I cannot speak highly enough of him. Like seriously. Jeff had a really good show with him, I believe, last week. And I really wish I could have been a part of that, but I wasn't because, internet suck, whatever. So give them a check them out. I think they're going to be worth it. For you sole prop guys, I think they're like $1 or $2 more a week. But I think the service that you're going to get from them is going to be far better than what you're used to in the other big box store you're getting your accounting done now. You know what I mean? Ken Kelly said, but guys, the short load is easy money and stop worrying so much about the weight when you have bills to pay. Amen, sir. Easy money. Drive slower because it's heavier. Just slow down. I mean, it's just not that big a deal, and you're making miles. Trust me. Anyone who argues that a heavy load is not profitable, I challenge their statement. I absolutely 100% challenge your statement. If you can't make money on any load Swift sends you because of the weight, you're doing something wrong. I'm going to say it out loud. If you can't make money on a heavy load because of the weight of the load, if you're saying that that's why you can't make money, I'm telling you, you're doing something wrong. I'm sorry. I know it's not a popular view, and I will catch static for it later, but whatever, man. Look, one of the things Jeff and I try to do at all times is be real with you guys. I know a lot of people think that Jeff and I are just these, Swift puppet fanboys. We're not. We're not. You guys can believe what you want, but we're not. We're just honest. I mean, you can make money on heavy loads. I don't care what you say. I mean, Mark Olinger is one of our contractors in the group. That guy pulls nothing but heavy loads. He runs bush bean warehouse to bush bean warehouse, slammed full every single day, back and forth. That's all he does. That guy is slaying it. He's doing really well. Thinking about other things, expanding and growing. And why can he do it? And he runs out of Tennessee up to Wisconsin and back. Horrible lane. I mean, truly a horrible lane for fuel prices and just those hills in Tennessee and all that, and yet he's slaying the cash, and he's steady every week. So if you're arguing that just because the load is heavy you can't make money, I'm arguing that you're wrong. What do you think about that? Anybody want to argue that one? I mean, we can. We don't have to. I'm not trying to be confrontational. I'm just saying, maybe start looking at these things you in the past wouldn't look at. John Reed, don't let the little things get you down and quit like that other trucker. There you go. RC Trucker said, I do any load they send me, long, short, heavy or light. And wait, I do want to say this. Don't blindly take any load, right? You do need to sit down and run the numbers on it. I mean, sometimes you need to be a little quicker right now because of the way loads are popping up and going. And if you don't accept it, then you're screwed. I mean, it's just the way it is because there's so many people hurting to get loads. But try and run the numbers, man. Make sure that, you're not over deadhead to get, less than half the loaded miles that you're going to eat on empty miles. That's sucks. Unless, of course, it's going to get you to an area where you have better freight and better options, right? Then it makes sense to do that. Bear Hunter said, yes, sir, Trucker CFO is amazing. Bear Hunter had a long talk with that guy. And yeah, it was interesting to watch and listen to. There was quite a few people. Him and Alan both had some pretty good conversations. Gabe said, correct. If you show some positivity, then it might be contagious with planners. True story. You'd be amazed how many people you can turn around with just smiling at them and having a good day and just saying, hey, how's your day going? How are you? What can I do for you today? Is there anything I can help you with? James said 90% of his loads are heavy. Lisa said, just ask Alan about heavy loads. That's his bread and butter, right? Ken Kelly, I'm a reefer guy. We're always at gross. I'm not suffering. You guys see the pattern here? Just saying. Mike Henderson said, I don't know why I feel leery about Trucker CFO. My uncle was a corporate lawyer. He always told me never trust anyone that uses media-driven fears to get your business. He was doing that last week. I don't know that I would agree with that. Honestly, I did miss quite a bit of the show because I couldn't see it because of my signal. But my experience with Colton face to face was not that type of deal. So I don't know. Maybe someone else can chime in on that. I would gladly welcome discussion. Nothing wrong with that. John Chuba, the heavier loads just slow your roll. I pulled 45,000 pounds copper out of Arizona to Georgia, average 8 miles. I'm guessing you mean 8 miles per gallon. And yeah, and yeah, right. I'm with you. Just slow down. Yep. 8 miles per gallon. RC Trucker said, I do 60 over 25,000 pounds. Under 25,000 pounds, I can go faster. Most of my loads are over 25,000, and I've been getting 7.3 versus 5.5 miles per gallon doing 65 plus, 18 Cascadia with the Cummins. Wow. That 7.3, well, I know you feel that's better, hurts my feelings. My lifetime average on my 23 Cascadia right now, as of the other day, was 8.98. And most of my time is spent about between 60 and 65. If we have to push for time or something like that, we'll bump it up to 65 when we have to. And there's occasionally times I might hit 70. Not often, but every now and again it happens. How many miles are on that 18 Cascadia with the Cummins in it, RC? I think you might want to look at possibly an overhead, get the charge air cooler looked at, because I really feel like 7.3 is low if you're doing 60 miles an hour. I was able to get more than that with my 07 Freightliner Century. So I think 7.3 is really low for that truck, even with the Cummins in it. Oh, Brian just said I've had nothing but 40,000-pound loads or more for weeks. I think I had one Walmart load 32 last week. Yeah, it's crazy. RC said they tell me it's all they have available. Can't wait for load board. Yeah, yeah. John Chuba. Also, if a pre-plan shows an even weight like 44,000, 42,000, etc., that's just a contract agreement, typically lighter than that. I've come across that in my years as well, John. Um, you know, a lot of these big contracts we have say we have to be able to pull so much weight, or a lot of times one of the things you'll also find is they will send an average weight because they're not sure how much that trailer is actually going to be loaded. They'll send an average weight, which will be, like 43,000 pounds. And yeah, it's crazy. And then you'll get there and it's like 11,000 pounds. You're like, woohoo. And every now and then you're like, it's 44,000 pounds. You're like, oh, but it happens. Good Lord, Kevin. You're at 5.7 on your current trip doing 63. Where are you driving from and to? What's the terrain like? How heavy are you? What's the wind doing? And where did you fuel? Whole bunch of questions for you there. I apologize. RC Trucker doing 60 at any weight. 7.8 is the best I can get. 7.3 on average. 330,000 miles. I would seriously look into getting the overhead checked on that truck, RC. Maybe getting a charge air cooler test done. If you do get a charge air cooler test done, don't let them just tell you it passed or it failed. If they tell you it passed, ask them exactly how much pressure lost in how many seconds did they record. And you might even want to tell them that you're going to want to know that specific thing if you get a charge air cooler test, because depending on the manufacturer, they allow for so much pressure loss from the charge air cooler system over so many seconds, and they say that's acceptable. And if you're just barely within the specs, you're still suffering. You could suffer a half mile, even a mile per gallon of fuel mileage loss due to that charge air cooler not being what it should be. So keep that in mind. But typically, fuel filters, when is the last time you changed your fuel filter? Where are you getting fuel? Things like that. Um, air cleaner is another one to keep an eye on. That will hurt your fuel mileage. And you could have all of these things affecting you at one time. It's crazy. So try to get a little more proactive on some of the maintenance and be able to say, hey, nope, my fuel filter was changed at 20,000 miles ago. Still looking empty. And I think that's good to go. My air filter has zero resistance on the gauge. So I don't think it's that. And those things will help you start narrowing it down as far as what could be your major problems. But I'm willing to bet that you might need an overhead. An overhead could bump your fuel mileage up a mile per gallon right off the top. So be careful with that. Maybe look into that. And I know it's tough right now with freight being what it is and money being what it is. But if you can increase your fuel mileage by a mile per gallon right now, that would be a tremendous help to you, I'm sure. Bear Hunter said shippers are sending more per truckload, cutting load numbers to save money on their end. Absolutely, they are. They are trying to get as much freight in every trailer as they can. Right now, gone are the days where they throw in 2 pallets and say, screw it, that's all we got, run with it. No, they're like, no, we'll wait 18 more hours and get these other 16 pallets in there. So Gabe said, I ran a load from Missouri to Eastern Pennsylvania. It was over 43,000 pounds the other day and ran 60 miles an hour in average between 8.7 to 8.9 miles per gallon from point to point. Hey, from point A to point B. See what I'm saying? 43,000 miles, Missouri to Pennsylvania. There's some hills in there. And still doing 8.7, 8.9. I'd like you to be able to tell me, Gabe, that it was 8.8 for your trip. So if you're not using a Let's Truck, or if you're just trying to remember where you were at, then I'll accept that. But I hope you have an exact number. I want you to say, no, I'm getting 8.81 is what I got on that trip. And you could do that if you're using Let's Truck and the Fuel Gauges app, right? Just throwing it out there. Kevin said he ran from Lucin, Idaho to Rancho. Good look. See, I feel like you really should be way over that, man. On that fuel mileage. Yeah, I would really seriously. You and RC, I think both need to get your overhead looked at, your charge air coolers. Seriously, I think and RC Trucker, what's an overhead? That's a great question, and thank you for asking that question. A lot of people won't ask questions like that, and I want you to know, thank you. Seriously, I appreciate it because I forget that people don't know what that is. That is getting your valves adjusted, the valve lash, the gap between the valves inside your motor. What happens is over time that gap will increase in size just because the truck wears and things loosen up, and it changes the mixture of fuel and the way that it burns in the motor, so it'll start eating up more fuel to get the same kind of power out, and it will affect your fuel mileage. So yeah, you want to get your valves adjusted. Most shops you can go in and say, hey, I'd like to get the overhead checked, and they sometimes will understand what you're saying. And if they don't, say, yeah, I need to make sure that my valve lash is correct. It will cost you a few $100s. I want to say the last one I did was like $600, something like that. I can't remember. I apologize. Right around $600 to get it checked, and came to find out that it was quite out of spec. That and my Jake was falling apart. And so that's something that they'll look at. They can also take a look at your injectors while they're doing that job. So it's a good time to maybe spend, another $100 just to have them look at your injectors and make sure that they're good, because they've already got that part of the engine open. So you're not going to get double charged for that labor if down the road something's wrong with that. So yeah, Kevin said, gross is 75,000, filled 122 gallons in Stanfield, Oregon. Currently in McDermott, Oregon, driving along Route 95. Yeah, you should be getting better than that. I'm sorry. I would seriously. When's the last time your fuel filters were changed and the Dabco and all that? Seriously, something's not right, Kevin. It could be a number of different things, but I feel something is definitely not right. Especially because you said you were driving 63. I mean, I'd rather you driving 60, of course. You know that. You know my thought on that, but that's fine. You should still be doing way better than what you're doing. So RC said, how much does that cost? I know the filters just got replaced. Air filters almost at zero. New 7 months ago. Yeah, and I have no idea how long these air filters last, like on my Cascadia. I've got zero restriction in my right now. I picked it up in July. I got 100,000 miles on the truck right now, and there's no sign of restriction on it yet. So, I mean, that's cool. I don't know a lot about these newer trucks because the last truck I was running was an 07 Century, and that was a whole different world, y'all. So, yeah, I'm learning a lot about these newer trucks as well. So, pardon me if I don't know as much as I'd like to know, but I am learning more and more every day. Thanks to you guys, actually, honestly. Yeah, even Jeff said, that's downhill most of the way, Kevin. So I really think you need to get something looked at, man. I'm just, wow. It's a bummer. And RC, you're welcome, man. Please always ask questions. You guys, there is this thing in the group where you guys will ask some questions, okay, from time to time, and Jeff and I will say, hey, what does the contract tell you about that specific topic? It's not that we're being jerks, but some of these questions can be simply answered by looking at your contract. But other things like RC stepped up, said, hey, what's an overhead? I don't know what that is. Some people are like, oh, you ain't a trucker, you don't know what an overhead is, what's wrong with you? And look, there was quite a long time I had no idea what people were talking about. And honestly, I was embarrassed to ask for quite some time. And then I said, what the hell? Why am I embarrassed? But I don't know, right? So if you guys ever have questions and you're in the group, please don't fear asking questions. Every now and then you will catch a little static for the question or whatever, or we may say, hey, search the group first and see if you can find the answer to your question. It's not that we don't want to answer the questions, but sometimes we've answered that question 47 times in the last 3 weeks. So please have a little understanding on our part here too. Jeff and I are both running trucking companies ourselves, and we're trying to stay profitable and keep those wheels turning and all that kind of stuff. So, please bear with us a little bit. Yeah, and like Ken said, when you get the overhead done, the engine does have to be stone cold. So plan for being down for a couple of days. Best to do it while you're on your home time. Yeah, find a Cummins shop. Because you have a Cummins RC, if you do go get the overhead checked, I would take it to a Cummins shop, not a Freightliner or a Freightliner shop, not a Kenworth shop. I would take it to a Cummins engine shop somewhere nearby you and have it done that way. Anytime that I had the engine opened up with my old 07 Century, I would take it directly to a Detroit shop here in Ocala, which was actually one of the better Detroit shops in the country, I found out. And it just was fortuitous that I moved here and now I had access to them. But yeah, I would take it to an engine shop and be prepared to pay a little more hourly than you would anywhere else because the engine shops are more costly. But it's going to get done right. And if it's not done right, you can take it back to them and they will cover you nationwide for that issue. So yeah. Mike Henderson said, back in the old days, I ran Costco heavy haul, 103,000 pound total weight running from Sumner to Salt Lake and got better than 5.3. Kevin, you need to get that truck looked at. Absolutely. And RC said, thanks, Ken and Charlie, and you're welcome, sir. Kevin said, never as far as I know. I'm cresting 300,000 miles, so I definitely bet it's time for filters and overhead. So yeah, definitely look at the oil filter, see what kind of restriction you have on your air filter. Maybe take it out and give it a visual inspection if you're comfortable doing that. It's only a couple of screws, bolts, depending on the truck you're running. Yeah, those Davco filters, the one in the big glass bowl, pretty easy to change. Just going to throw it out there. If you had been at the conference in Vegas, we talked about exactly how to change those. We also have a video on how to change those right here on Contractor's Corner. If you go down and look for it, you'll see a simple little video. It takes less than 5 minutes to change your Davco filter. I do it typically in the past. I've done it while fueling at a fuel island, and I have the filter changed before my fuel is done pumping. So yeah, Kevin said it came from a company truck, 2021 Kenworth. So yeah, I would get some of this stuff looked at, Kevin. I think it's worth taking a look at, even if you got to come out of pocket yourself a little bit. I don't know if you're. Well, I'm guessing you're not on the MRP with a 2021 KW. You're probably on the FX since you transferred over. So it's going to come out of your pocket anyhow. So squirrel away a little extra money. Give your local KW shop or your local Cummins shop a call and say, hey, what's it going to cost me to get my overhead checked and that sort of thing. I think you may find that it's either your charge air cooler or your overhead and or both. I mean, both would actually explain how drastic and low yours is. Seriously, I feel like you're really at a drastic level on that fuel mileage, man. I mean, if you're truly doing 63, and I've got no reason to doubt you, but I get a lot of people say, oh man, I did 60 and I'm only getting 5 miles per gallon. And then I find out they're doing 70 everywhere. And they're like, oh yeah, my bad. You know what I mean? So be honest with yourself and make sure that you are doing what you need to do for your business, because that by itself, that fuel mileage is going to just destroy you. And right now is not the time to be having fuel mileage problems. Right now is the time everybody, and I know you guys hate hearing me say it, but right now is the time everybody needs to be doing, 60 miles an hour, 61, 62. I know some of the KW seem to do better at 62 versus 60, and that's fine. Doing 70 and 72. If you guys can explain to me why you're doing 72 versus 62, I'd love to hear the argument. Most of Swift's freight is calculated at 50 miles an hour. So, I mean, you know, if you can't make delivery times, you need to spend a little less time running in and out of truck stops. All right. I know you don't want to hear that, but let's get real. Let's start trying to crack down on this stuff, you guys. You know, you come here and you want to hear how you can make more money, how you can save more money. And then we tell you, and then you don't do it. And it makes us sad. It makes me sad. Sometimes it makes me a little angry. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, we've had a couple people in the past. Alexia Richardson would be a great example, who did everything the opposite of what Jeff, myself, Alan Becker, and Matthew Wright would tell her. Literally, we wouldn't even talk to each other. We would, give a call at the end of the day between us, and we're like, "Hey, did Alexia call you?" Yep. And yeah, we all found out that she asked us the same question. We all gave her the same answer, and she did the opposite and was mad because exactly what we said was going to happen happened. Don't be Alexia. Don't be Alexia. See, that's a prime example, John. Took me a week in orientation before I figured out what bobtail was, right? Because you didn't want to ask. It seemed like an embarrassing question. Like everybody else knows what bobtail is. What the hell? Why? I don't want to. Dude, you guys, if you have a question, ask the question. Look, take the ribbon that you might get for it. I mean, seriously, but at least then you'll know you won't have the question anymore, right? And Jeff said, Swift won't do a CA charge air cooler test or the overhead. You have to go outside for those. Absolutely correct. And like I said, if you get a charge air cooler test, let them know that you want to know what the leak down numbers were on that test. Because if it just barely passes, you could be losing half mile, 3/4 of a mile per gallon just for that alone. What about Swift warranty? Any effects on that? I have an MRP. RC, I don't know. I think you would need to call Juice at Rapid Response. Call and speak to Juice about it. Say, hey, look, Charlie and Jeff think that there might be a problem with my overhead or my charger or cooler. Is this part of what's covered? If not, I mean, be prepared for them to say it's not covered and you need to deal with it. And if not, then just you're going to have to suck it up and do it yourself. But I'm telling you that if either of those things or both of those things are your problem, you will make your money back quickly on the miles per gallon that you save. See, I didn't even think about DPF filter. Tim said, DPF filters might need to be cleaned. I didn't even know that DPF filter could affect your fuel mileage. Honest to God, had no idea. There you go. And if you're over that 300,000 mark, yeah, that very well could be a thing. And with that, I would recommend if you're going to get a DPF checked and cleaned, then I would go to DPF Alternatives, right? Those guys do amazing work, and then they guarantee the DPF for life after that, provided you use the max mileage additive in your fuel after you get that service done. And the information for those guys is scrolling across the bottom, and they don't pay us any money, unfortunately. I'd like to take some money from DPF Alternatives, not going to lie, but they don't pay us anything like right now. So there you go. Jeff has had some work done there. I know Tim had his done. I've had a couple people in the group go in and get their DPFs cleaned by DPF Alternatives and found their trucks running fabulously afterwards. So yeah, definitely there are some things that you could get looked at. They all do cost money. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's trucking, guys. And Kevin, you figured it was just the route you took up in the mountains. Yeah, but even still, man, there's still some of that just seems, yeah, tremendously bad, dude. I apologize. I don't know any other way to say it. Yeah, hard sometimes when pulling 43,000 through the mountains. You're right. Ken Kelly said, here's a question for you guys. I'm not on an MRP, but for those that are, is overhead covered in the contract or is that out of pocket? Just asking to get the info out there. And again, I'm not sure. I have one of the old MRP contracts, but I don't believe that that's covered in there. And yeah, Bear Hunter drives super fast. And I give him static for it every day that I talk to him. Like every single time Sean and I talk on the phone, I give him a hard time over his speed. But he does understand how much money his driving fast uh hurts him. He knows this and he deals with it. And see, James Bond, I'm a jackass. That's why. That's why you're driving fast. I get it. But you understand what it's costing you, and that's okay. And see, life on 18 wheels. I do everything except get off the pedal. See, but again, life on 18 wheels, you know what that pedal cost you. Am I right or am I wrong? I believe that you know you could probably do better overall in the long term, slowing down. You don't have to admit it, but I'm willing to bet that you know that. I think that you know that. I have faith in you that you know that. You know what I mean? And look, there's certain people like Sean who I will give nonstop ration about their speed. And it doesn't change until he changes, right? So it's okay. But you can't complain about how fast you drive and your crappy fuel mileage and expect sympathy. Oh, look. FFS, I'm not going to say those words. We went over that when you got the 23 Charley. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, you're right. You did kind of hit me like, if your fuel mileage starts getting bad, you might want to check the DPF and blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Shut up, man. You know what? I'm going to put you in timeout. Oh, wait, I can't because you're not here. Bastard. I still love that guy. Oh, see, we argue. Yeah. You guys would be amazed at some of the arguments Jeff and I actually get into. We don't really argue, but we do have some differences every now and then, and they get pretty good. He yelled at me like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Like he was not having anything I was saying that day. Like it was like, I'm like, damn, Jeff's mad. And then I'm like, I'm mad too. I can be mad. You're not the only one that's mad. I'm mad too. Don't tell me what to do. And it was funny. I'm just saying. Uh, Kevin said, at Mike, this is the first time I've gotten shitty fuel mileage pulling heavy. Well, maybe maybe you got a bad load of fuel. I mean, that's an absolute possibility. If this is the first time that you're experiencing this, then I would not jump into getting the overhead checked. It may not be a bad idea. I don't know what your lifetime and your normal average are. That would be some good information. If you had that information, we could talk about more about that. But if this is like just a one-time thing, you're having this much problem with Kevin, you may have just got a bad load of fuel, man. Like legit. So I mean, there is that. Make sure you keep a close eye on that Dabco filter and see if it starts filling up real fast all of a sudden. That's a pretty good indicator you got a bad load of fuel. And if that's the case, then just swap out your fuel filters as soon as you can. And you may see your fuel mileage drastically change again. Yeah. Bear Hunter. I still do get 7.5 to 8.0 depending on load, weight, and region. And you could be getting 8 to 9 or 8.5 to 10. Just saying. Just saying. You and I are never going to agree on that argument. See, look. And yes, I know I could do better, but I'm okay with what I get. There you go. And Ken said he's crushed, Jeff. He thought he was the only one you argued with. Geez, I'm jealous of Charley now. You shut your mouth, damn paratroopers. Good God, nobody wants to hear a crying paratrooper, Ken. You know what? You're in Thailand. Shut up. We don't want to hear it. Yeah, Kevin, fuel did come from Pilot. In Stanfield, I've got to tell you, I've actually had a couple problems from there, oddly enough. Back in the day when I used to run up there a lot, because I lived in Oregon, I would run through there a lot. And that was actually one of the spots I would fuel at because I wasn't on the regular fuel card and it just seemed to work out that way. However, yeah, it's a thing. Yeah. And Jeff said, even though we argued and got mad at each other a couple weeks ago, he still invited me to his house. His wife, she made this amazing dinner. I actually felt bad for eating their dinner. I was not trying to get them to feed me, but man, we had a great dinner at their house. Enjoyed the family, hung out with his kids, and Jeff and I did a podcast while we were there with the ES Success and Trucking people, and it was fun. We had a good time there, and I totally enjoyed my time up there, honestly, even though it was in Utah. Beady poop. Just saying. So yeah, I think we've talked about some cool stuff. You know what? Thank you guys for guiding this down the path you're guiding it down. I dig this. This is the kind of stuff that Jeff and I really like doing. We like being able to kind of talk these things out and get some opinions from different people and have a real conversation. You know, that's kind of what this community is all about, you guys. And we hope that you see that and value that, and that you want to continue being a part of this. I know we've had some weird turmoil within the group a little bit over the last couple of weeks. There's some people who maybe don't agree with the things that Jeff and I seem to stand up for, and that's fine. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say something. Oh, and Ken, Jeff says you're welcome at the house as well. Yes, that is a fabulous question, RC. Thank you again. DEF and DPF are different filters. Absolutely. The DPF filter is a diesel particulate filter. It's a giant filter that's part of your exhaust system that is big ceramic pieces that can sometimes break and crack and get screwed up and get completely jumbled up. And yeah. So, and whereas the DEF, the diesel exhaust fluid filter, is a much simpler filter to change. I wish Alan was here because he could tell you exactly where it is on each of the trucks, but I can't tell you. John Chuba said, QT best price I found down south. No showers, but great barbecue sandwiches. You know what? They got some brisket tacos that are pretty phenomenal. Fill them up with that green and that crazy red hot salsa they got. They are great. Seriously, I dig them. Jeff Ken says he appreciates that. So one of the things I want to talk about this week, we actually had some. I had an individual in the group who is upset with me, and that's fine. He had asked me back in November to look at his numbers and get with Sue, and he got it authorized through Sue for me to, take a peek at his numbers from the AS400 system. With his approval through Sue, I got to look at those numbers. Before I ever got back to this guy, Sue had a conversation with him, was my understanding, and she said, the thing that's hurting you the most right now is your fuel expense, which is the exact same thing I would have told this individual. And that was November. And I haven't heard anything back from this individual. So I, look, Jeff and I get super busy. You guys know that. And we try our best to answer every question and move on and things like that and try and get you guys squared away. But keep in mind, we do have our own trucking companies to run as well. And we do our best, right? So while I will admit that I did not follow up with this guy, and for that, I do apologize. But at the same time, this individual never contacted me again, never asked a question in the group, no follow up on their part whatsoever, and decided that this week that it's all mine and Jeff's fault. That if anyone is expecting Jeff and I to give them help, they should just find answers elsewhere. And I'm sorry that person has that feeling, and it's unfortunate, but this was the story behind that. So I thought it was fair for me to share my side of the story or our side of the story so you guys are aware of what it is. And it was, yes, I dropped the ball. I got a text message and yes, Mike. And I got a text message and I got a PM on the same day about the same stuff. And that was it. And that was in November. And no follow up from them. I'm sorry, but most of you guys who have, contacted me, texted me, called me, things like that, it's kind of like a running joke, unfortunately, and I apologize for that. And I'm trying to do better. But you'll call me and you'll get a text message immediately that says, I'll call you back. It's like a big joke. Ha 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 ha. Charlie said he's gonna call me back. Most of you guys know, seriously, know that you're gonna have to send me a text. Hey, dummy, did you forget about me? And I'm like, oh, my bad. Let me call you right now, and I'll call you back, right? So I do try. You guys, I mean, we take a tremendous amount of calls and work with a lot of people, you guys. And we are honestly doing what we can. And we're trying to also groom some other people. We're keeping an eye on our group and we're trying to see if we can't groom some other people to do a little more of what the type of work that Jeff and I do within the group. And we're trying to figure out a way to monetize that for guys so that we can kind of spread a little money around and do what it is that we do. So keep that in mind, guys. There may be an income opportunity for some of you down the road. Don't get mad if we don't come to you. Look, it's not that we're picking favorites. It's that we're kind of looking to see who's helpful, who does what, these sort of things. And while Jeff and I do have our philosophies on things and the way that we do things, we we do have a way that we want some things done. So we're looking for folks who kind of share our thoughts on certain things, and we want to make sure that they follow those patterns. So yeah. And Mike Anderson, I knew when I used the word grooming. Oh man, I knew that word was gonna get me. So, yeah, James Bond can tell you all about me answering phone calls. Oh God. Sorry, James. Yep. See, look, I do try though. And I typically will try to get back to you. And for those of you guys who are, Cali Hustle, I appreciate that. Victor Jackson, I appreciate you, sir. We do try and we are doing what we can, but keep in mind we do have our businesses to run as well. And then we got family time and Jeff's got like 47 kids he needs to deal with, and I've got grandkids that are completely batshit crazy when I come home. And those sort of things. So, keep that in mind. We are people, right? We're doing what we can and we're trying to spread it around as best we can. But that's why we count on this big old huge community that we're building. We're coming up on 300 in the private group, 830 subs on the channel. Uh, we are depending on a lot of you guys to be a part of this community, family, large extended family type thing, where we can all fall on each other and help each other out. And we're trying to do the best that we can, and we do absolutely appreciate you guys, and hopefully you guys appreciate some of what we do. At least we're trying. Ken Kelly said, in my opinion, you and Jeff did not deserve that BS yesterday. Shane isn't going to happen overnight, and if this person won't help themselves, that's on them. I appreciate your words there, Ken. I will echo some of that myself. I think I have. So yeah, it's a lot sometimes, and yeah, I'm not trying to make this a big sob story on poor Jeff and poor Charlie, but we do need a little bit of understanding from some of you guys sometimes, and we will get back to you as best we can. And every now and then, I'm going to let you know right now, if I say I'll call you back and you don't hear from me in a couple hours, within the next 2 hours, shoot me a message, text me again, because chances are I got sidetracked on another project or another problem, something of that nature. And look, I'm getting old. I hit my head really hard in the Army. Just going to say. All right. I'm just saying, cut us a little slack, and we will do our best for you guys. So, yeah. What else you guys got? Hour and a half, man. This is way better than I thought it was going to go tonight, because you know what? I was a little brain broken with all the stuff that happened today. You know what I mean? It's been an interesting day. Squirrel. For real. I do find squirrels. Look, there's another one. I saw a squirrel. Next to you, I am a kid, sir, and I will take that. And I appreciate your years of wisdom, sir, and leading the way for the younger paratroopers like myself. And I hope that I led a good path for those behind me. So thank you, sir. Look. If it's any consolidation, he ignored me in Vegas. Look, Sean, you saw how freaking busy we were there, dude. Like Jeff and I and Rosie. So you guys didn't understand. I had Rosie in Vegas with me, and Jeff had his wife Donna with us, and Jeff and I were doing a lot of contractors corner business establishing and things like that. We are officially a registered company within the state of Utah, Contractors Corner Consulting Group LLC, and yeah, it's a thing that we are working on, and we finally got to pull the trigger on. Had to get bank accounts set up and all this other stuff, and Colton's actually the one who set up our corporation for us. So again, dig that guy, Colton. Super dig that guy. Just going to throw it out there. You know who else I dig? I'm going to throw up another ad across the bottom right here, because I haven't mentioned it all day, and I feel kind of like a jerk for not doing it. For any of you guys who haven't looked at the Seabright Insurance yet, I highly recommend you do that. This May 1st deadline's coming up quick. If you don't already have a camera and you're thinking about wanting to get changed, I know Jeff finally got to pull the trigger. His certificate of insurance is active as of the 1st. He will be billed for the first time on the 10th. So if you're going to get your insurance set up, make sure you have the money to pay for it. Okay, guys? We have had a bit of a problem with our first round of billing, where we had quite a few people who hadn't paid. Some of it was people like Sean, who didn't look at the right email, I think. I'm just saying. Love you, man. And my bad, bro. My bad. I can't help it sometimes. You know I can't help it. John, another future topic. Understand state fuel tax and why it's cheaper to buy fuel in California and not Arizona. Never buy fuel in Missouri. Maybe talk next week about it. So, John, we've actually got a video that dips into that very subject. It's a poorly presented but solid information video. If you look at the produced videos, not the live and the live tab on the channel, you'll see. In fact, it's in the playlist called. Let me pull it up. Content playlist. New contractors should watch. Inside that playlist, there is one called Basic Fuel Purchase Guide. That will actually break down exactly what it is you're talking about. And I would highly recommend it. Again, I apologize for the quality of the video, but the information is solid. And I will argue your statement that it's cheaper to buy fuel in California and not Arizona. I'm going to argue that statement. Sometimes that is a true statement. Sometimes that is not. You need to look every day. Yes, California has a very high IFTA rate. That doesn't mean that it's still going to be cheaper in California. So you need to know those IFTA rates. So yeah, next week we're actually going to try and have Tony Dennis on next week to talk about this claims process, because I think a lot of people need to know about the claims process. I think Sean can attest that Tony had some really cool information when he was talking about how to do the claims thing, how to manage it, and those sort of things. And yeah, let me see what any updates on the low board. Unfortunately, no life on 18 wheels. We there just isn't any this week. Our meeting is tomorrow, so hopefully we'll have something for next week's show. I do apologize, but they bumped our meeting from today to tomorrow. Ken Kelly said, "Okay, folks, 6:35 Wednesday morning here, going to walk while it's cool and get some breakfast. Remember, folks, personal maintenance is important to your business. Also, plan for it. Absolutely, you got to be able to find balance in your life so that you can spend some of that money you're trying to make. Right? A little tough right now, but if you plan a year and ahead, maybe 6 months, you can get it squared away." Tim said, I believe even if the low board is ready, they will hold off till freight gets better. I don't know. I don't really have a good answer for that. Oh, there you go. Sounds that it's fixed now. It wasn't me. They sent to the wrong email. Whatever. And Tim's got his Seabright on auto pay. Yeah, you can call Mary, like Jeff's saying here. You can give Mary a call at Seabright and get it set up for an automatic ACH transfer. Then you don't eat the credit card fees, which is a groovy thing. Mike Henderson said, back in 2004, when I became an owner op with Swift, they had an OO orientation. It was 3 days and they taught about fuel tax. It was great class. It's sad they stopped. I agree, Mike Henderson. So that's actually something Jeff and I want to work on. And it's something that's on our list to do. We are wanting to build some sort of video orientation that will go over a lot of these things and kind of explain a lot more detail on particularly for people. I mean, it would be really beneficial, one, for company guys, of course, but for people coming in from the outside who just don't understand the Swift system. There's a lot that is common amongst carriers, but there's quite a bit that is what you call Swift centric, right? Victor, when will Juice be on the show? I need to set up a schedule and try and get some of these people hammered down. So it is on the list. I do have Juice. I'd like to get Juice and Eon on, as a matter of fact, and have a good conversation about some of that maintenance stuff and the mechanical side. So that is something that's on the radar. It's on the list of things to get done. So just bear with us, and we're trying to get these things done. It's hard to, with this one show a week thing, to bring people in and still get out other information that we need to get out and that sort of thing. I'd like to get people in more frequently, right? But again, got to run this side hustle called Dirt Dart Express Transportation. Oh man. Yeah, Sean, there used to be an orientation. It was amazing. Life on 19 Wheels is a Swift Perks marketplace for legit. Yep, it's coming from the Swift people. I'm not completely sure what it is. I'm a little in the dark. It seems to be that they're offering some extra services. I even seem to allude to some sort of other insurance things, like kind of like Aflac type stuff or things of that nature, short-term disability, whatever. What I would recommend is I would actually talk to Tony at Seabright. If you're a Seabright member already, I would actually ask him about some of this stuff as well, because I think you may find that there is some pretty amazing information that Tony has been working on and programs he's been working on. And, I want to find this link. Tony and Jeff Reese had a podcast recently that was recently put out. Let me see if I can find that link and put it in here. That would be an amazing thing. Oh, wrong place. Bear with me just a minute, y'all. Let me find this link because I think this would be amazing. How do I do this? Let me see. Let me click that. Let me copy message text. Let me PM it to myself. Oh, I know. I can email it to myself. Sorry, this is great video. I know, right? My apologies, y'all. But I think this link could be cool. It was a podcast that involved Tony and Jeff Reese from ES Success and Trucking, the ES Advantage program. And it's kind of an interesting thing about how and what and why about insurance. And Tony really did a good job, and Jeff Reese did a fabulous job hosting that thing. Sorry, getting there. I promise. This takes a minute to transfer from one place to another. So now I got to pull it up over on this screen. And then I will put a link to it up here I'll put it on the screen. I'll put it in the chat. That's what I'll do. And I think some of you might find this interesting. It's right there in the chat. It was an interesting podcast. It was about, I want to say it was 37 minutes long. And I found it pretty informative. And that's after the months of listening to Tony and all this stuff about learning. And I think it's a pretty good deal. I'm not completely sure what all the marketplace is for RC. I think we're just going to have to wait till it finally pops. Yeah, Mike, don't you hate it when your job gets in the way? Like, right? I'm serious. Oh, my God. Sean said they're trying to recover from losing all those owners to Seabright. No comment. Any word on mentors getting Seabright insurance? I know that Seabright and Swift are talking. There is communication between the two to see if something can be worked out. And yeah. Oh, yeah. When you go to that link, you're going to have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, and that's where you'll see the audio link. I apologize. Thank you, Sean. Good looking out. The player is at the bottom, right? So yeah, right there. If you go to that link right there, you know what? I'll put it in the show notes as well, and you can pull it out of the show description after the show if you'd like to check it out. That's actually the podcast that Jeff and I did as well with Jeff Reese. And I think it was a pretty good deal. I think you guys will enjoy it. Reese has a series of shows he's going to be putting out here on various subjects and topics. And I'm looking forward to see how those play out. The only thing I'll say is, Jeff Reese, you need a new microphone, sir. Morton and I, Jeff, we're talking about that. We're like, dude, we got to get that guy a microphone. Other than his personal sound quality, Tony's sound quality was great. Reese's sound quality was, yeah. Sorry, Reese. You know I love you, man. Kevin said, I contact Transtar today. The insurance is $901 a month with Swift. For my truck, Seabright is $711. There you go. I don't understand. You know, if you can not use Swift insurance, if you're not a mentor, I don't see a reason to keep Swift's insurance. It's also going to create an extra layer of separation between you and the carrier, which is fair. Squirrel. Yeah, seriously. Lisa, you are not nice. Just saying that. Maybe you are. I don't know. Look, there was another squirrel over here. My bad. So yeah, you know what? I don't even know if anybody called into the studio today. Okay, I didn't miss any calls. I haven't even looked. I apologize. Oh Lord, I'm a train wreck. Well, that's weird. Hasn't updated. Anyhow, nice. I've been gone a couple weeks, so I need to make up for it. That's cool, Lisa. It's all good. Good Lord, man. Still haven't got my truck yet. I'd like to have it soon, as I would like to get the insurance. I can't believe. So, Matt, what are they saying? Like, how much longer? Any ETA on that? Because that is terrible. Oh crap, Bullwinkle. What the? Wait a minute. Yeah. So Tennessee, what's the update on that, man? I mean, are they giving you any information, or are you just kind of in the dark right now? Wow, you are a patient individual, and you're doing that Bush thing right now, aren't you? Are you or are you not? I think you are. Maybe you don't want to talk about it. Maybe you want to keep it a secret. That's cool. Whatever, man. Maybe I'm sharing things I shouldn't share. Good Lord. I apologize. Drove down there on my last home time from Knoxville to Decatur, still growling like a bear. Damn it, man. They got it. Like I said, do they got any ETA on when they're going to be done with it or what? Because that's just crazy, man. I mean, you're on months. Just so you guys know what we're talking about, um, we Tennessee Trucking leased an MRP truck, I believe, and there was problems with it. So he has yet to drive it, and it's been several months that he's been in a rental from the very start. Probably one of the most patient individuals I've ever talked to in my life. Seriously, good on you, sir, because you are kind of magical. Just gonna say that. Kevin said, "I wish Swift and or Seabright would allow the mentor program with Seabright. I'm okay with going back Swift Insurance temporarily while I train, since I'm dealing with Netrodyne crap." Gotcha. Um, yeah, it's pretty crazy. They are talking. There is a conversation going on, and hopefully it will come out in the favor of mentors and stepping out. So we're just gonna have to see. And you are on that particular account, cool. And no ETA on the truck. That's crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy to me. Oh, they're handling it slow process. I did ask for a different camera though. That might be fair. I happen to know of a 22 Freightliner that was turned in down in Lancaster. Just saying. Uh, might still be available. Just saying. Bear Hunter says he wants to know what account. And Lisa said you should call into the show. Tennessee's a good dude. If you guys haven't talked to him, he's definitely a cool dude. Good, smart guy. Actually, has some experience on the outside doing other markets and other trucking venues. We'll say a lot of information, a lot of history, and a lot of experience on his part. So for him to come in here and be doing what he's doing and being patient and shows professionalism and yeah, hats off to you, sir. If I had a hat, I'd take it off. Squirrel. What? But if you guys got anything else, by all means, throw it up. We will dip into it. We're actually coming up. I've only got about 6 minutes left. We're trying to keep these shows to 2 hours. So it's something that Jeff and I are really trying to work on, maintaining our schedules here, because we do have to set up some boundaries for ourselves, because our families have told us, bro, dude, Dad, Grandpa, you're here, but you're not here. You dig it? And that tends to hurt a little bit. So Jeff and I are trying to work on finding that balance that we're telling you guys all the time to find. And yeah, so that's something that we need to work on, and hopefully you guys can appreciate that. So last call for questions, y'all. We're at an hour and 55 right now. While we do appreciate your time and taking time out of your day to come join us on the show and be a part of the community and throw questions up and talk with us and share your opinions, your thoughts, your gripes, and listen to me gripe today this fine evening. I appreciate you guys. Jeff and I both do, even though Jeff is out there, doing that trucking thing. I can tell you that he appreciates it all just as much as I do. Without you, there is no us, right? I mean, legitimately. Otherwise, it'd just be me talking to space right now, and nobody would be responding or being a part of it. So, like I said, last call, y'all. You want to throw up a question, get it out there real quick? I'm down to about 4 minutes. I need to hit this button here pretty quick. So, if you guys don't have anything else, maybe since I started early, I may end early. What? What do y'all say? All right. I'm going to take your silence as you're ready for me to get the hell off this screen. And I appreciate that. I can dig it. There's only so much of me I can take as well. I'm going to run out to my property as soon as I wrap this up. And I got to go hide some cameras on my property for some people that I got to worry about now since I started this little tweaker war. And they know where I live for real. So I got to arm up 2 different places. Isn't that crazy? Tennessee, I don't think that's going to stop you from getting your insurance after the first of the month. Nope. Yeah. You guys, and if there's any concerns, Matt, give me a call. And I think I can talk you through a little more if you need to. I think we'll be all right. This isn't your fault. This is their fault. So I think that we can work around on this some. Mind blown. Blown is what he said. Anyhow, you guys stay safe. Look after each other. There's no one out here looking after us but us. So do just that. Look after each other. Seriously. You guys, I worry about all of us. I worry about me. I worry about all of you. So if there's anything we can do to help, shoot us a message. And if I don't answer right away, make sure you shoot me a follow-up, please. I'm asking you. I'm telling you that I do forget things. I let quite a few messages slip through the cracks. For that, I apologize, but I do try my best. So you guys be safe. Look after each other, and let's hope that this freight stuff comes up a whole lot better here real soon. You guys, thanks again. We will be back here next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, right here on Contractors Corner Consulting Group. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.